A doctor became famous. 3 women were forgotten. But without those women, medical history might look very different today. This painting tells one version of the story. But look a little closer, and the questions begin. Who were Anarcha, Lucy, and Betsey? Why did their names almost disappear from history? And what really happened inside a small Alabama infirmary nearly 2 centuries ago? To understand their story, we have to return to America in the 1840s, a time when a devastating childbirth injury was changing thousands of lives. The condition was called vesicovaginal fistula, and for many women, it brought suffering, isolation, and uncertainty. Families often didn't understand the condition. Communities avoided those who suffered from it, and many women were left completely alone. For years, doctors searched for a solution, but again and again, they failed. No reliable cure existed. As thousands of women continued to suffer, one young doctor in Alabama was building a reputation that would eventually change medical history. His name was Marion Sims. Today, some call him the father of modern gynecology. Others remember him for a very different reason. By the 1840s, Sims had moved to Montgomery, Alabama, a rapidly growing city built on wealth, cotton, and slavery. As his reputation grew, patients began traveling long distances in search of help. Behind his home stood a small infirmary, a simple building that would eventually become part of medical history. Then, in the mid-1840s, a group of young women arrived seeking relief from a condition medicine could not cure. Among them was a young woman named Anarcha. Soon, 2 others would join her, Lucy and Betsey, names that history would nearly forget. All 3 women were enslaved, and that fact changes everything about how this story is understood today. Sims later wrote that his patients agreed to the procedures, but historians continue debating what consent could truly mean under slavery.
After all, how much freedom does a person really have when they are legally considered property?
It's a question with no simple answer, and it remains at the center of the debate surrounding Marion Sims today. What is certain is that inside a small Alabama infirmary, a series of experiments was about to begin. Experiments that would change medicine forever. The first procedures did not succeed. Again and again, the repairs failed. Most doctors would have stopped. But Sims continued searching for an answer. Weeks became months, and months became years. Through it all, the women remained at the center of the story. Over time, the women became part of the daily life of the infirmary. They cared for one another and helped keep the small hospital running. One procedure left Lucy seriously ill. For a time, her future seemed uncertain. Lucy survived, but the challenges facing 19th century medicine remained enormous. Among all the patients, Anarcha would endure more procedures than anyone else, again and again. After years of failure, Sims began looking at the problem differently. Then an unexpected observation changed everything. For the first time, the injury could be studied more clearly. A simple idea would eventually lead to a medical instrument still remembered today. But understanding the problem was only the beginning. Finding a solution would prove even harder. Months became years. Yet the search for a solution continued. Eventually, a different technique began producing more promising results. For the first time, success seemed possible. Eventually, one repair held. A condition once believed incurable had finally been treated successfully. Medicine had achieved a breakthrough, but the debate over how that breakthrough was achieved was only beginning. News of the successful procedure spread quickly. What had once seemed impossible was now attracting attention far beyond Alabama. In 1853, Sims left Alabama and moved to New York City. A new chapter was about to begin. Soon, his work would help shape one of America's first hospitals dedicated to women's health. Patients began arriving from across the United States, seeking treatments that once seemed impossible. As his reputation grew, so did his influence. Many physicians began studying his methods. Medical societies honored his achievements. Professional recognition followed, and so did fame.
Before long, many people were calling him the father of modern gynecology.
His ideas influenced doctors around the world. For decades, the story seemed simple. A doctor had solved a problem medicine could not. But history is rarely that simple. And eventually, people began asking difficult questions. Researchers began revisiting the original records. And some of the details raised uncomfortable questions. The records revealed that Anarcha, Lucy, and Betsey had never disappeared. They had simply been overlooked. Historians began asking a difficult question. Could meaningful consent exist within slavery? Some scholars argue that the women chose treatment because no alternative existed. Others argue that slavery made true consent impossible. The historical record cannot fully answer that question. And perhaps it never will. What is certain is that the debate continued into the 21st century. Some viewed Sims as a medical pioneer. Others focused on the women whose experiences made those achievements possible. For much of history, the women remained in the background, while the doctor remained at the center of the story. As historians revisited the records, one name appeared again and again: Anarcha, the woman who endured more procedures than any other patient.
Lucy's story returned to the historical conversation as well. Her experience revealed both the risks and the human cost behind the breakthrough.
Then came Betsey, another woman whose contribution was nearly lost to history. Gradually, historians began telling a larger story, a story that included everyone involved. In the 21st century, memorials and exhibitions began recognizing the women by name.
The conversation was no longer about one person. It had become a discussion about many lives.
Modern historical research has brought renewed attention to three overlooked figures: Anarcha, Lucy, and Betsey. Their story reminds us that medical progress is rarely the work of a single individual. It is often shaped by many lives. History remembered one name first. Today, it remembers more of the story. The legacy of Marion Sims remains debated. More than a century after his death, the conversation continues. But few historians disagree about the importance of Anarcha, Lucy, and Betsey. Their place in this story is no longer overlooked. Their legacy extends far beyond this single story. Its impact can still be felt today. Every generation inherits knowledge from the one before it. And every generation also decides how that history will be remembered. The story of Anarcha, Lucy, and Betsey is not just a medical story. It is a human story. Their names survived, even when history nearly forgot them. And their story continues to challenge how we think about progress, ethics, and memory. In the beginning, there was a doctor and three women. Today, we know more of the story than ever before. History is rarely a story about one person. It is a story about everyone who helped shape it. And perhaps the most important questions are the ones that history leaves for us to answer.